How far away are you, Adam? Let's find out. Hey Siri, I need directions to Knoxville, Tennessee. 1,000. Oh, now she's trying to make me drive 1,300 miles away, Adam, and you are mixing with like 100 milliseconds of latency, which is mind-boggling. This is a PreSonus Studio Live 32SX digital mixing console, and what's mind-blowing about this current situation is Adam is actually monitoring my audio that's going through this console with only about 100 milliseconds of latency, and he also has 100% control of this mixer. And not only can Adam have full control of this mixing console, but I can actually hear him as well. We have a talkback set up, right, Adam?
Yep.
So his microphone at his desk at home is going into universal control. It's going over the interweb, and then it's coming into the talkback channel on this mixing console. So me as a musician at church, I could have a completely remote sound engineer mix my in-ears, mix front of house, mix for broadcast, mix whatever mix you want to create on this console. So let's go ahead, Adam, and show this to them in action. We've got my vocal mic and my guitar right here. You can hear my vocal mic. This is the main mix coming from the PreSonus that you're listening to right now. It's pretty dry. It doesn't have any processing on it. And then my guitar actually has to be patched in to the right input channel on the mixing console. So I'm going to have Adam set all this stuff up first. Maybe let's start with the guitar channel, Adam. So
let's get you plugged in.
Yeah, I plugged it into input number 2, the analog input on the back of the PreSonus console. And we do have an acoustic guitar channel there, 10, if you want to route it there.
I'll do acoustic on channel 23 so that we can use that for what we're going to do later.
Oh, yeah, perfect. That's for our virtual sound check later.
So analog 2 is into channel 23. I'm already seeing some signal. Let me get a good preamp level on that. That looks pretty good.
And you guys can see him moving that fader. You know, he's doing that all remotely.
Actually, let's do a different compressor.
Oh, and I want to hear the changes you're making, Adam. So can you go to mix 9, my in-ear mix, and actually make add that guitar in so I can hear it? There we go. You guys can see him moving the EQ band around there on the mixing console. So Adam did all of this, like, without me touching the console. And again, he is monitoring this mix from Tennessee with about 100 and, what'd you say, 112 milliseconds? Mine's at 80 milliseconds of latency. You guys can see the UC Metro streaming stats right here. It tells you, all the stats you would want to know about your connection. And it's important to understand, too, that this laptop is actually just connected to our local network here. I am hardwired in, but this would also work over Wi-Fi. The mixing console is actually not plugged into the local network. It's just plugged in USB to my laptop here, which is the host computer for Metro. Do you want to do some vocal work?
Yeah.
Singing, oh, Christ be magnified. Let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me, singing, oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me, singing, oh, Christ be magnified. Let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Singing, oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. When every creature finds its inmost melody, and every human heart's native cry, then in one enraptured hymn of praise we'll sing, Christ be magnified, be magnified. Singing, oh, Christ be magnified, let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Singing, oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Sounding good to me. There you go, guys. You just saw us do a sound check from, how far away are you, Adam? Let's find out. Hey Siri, I need directions to Knoxville, Tennessee. 1,000, oh, now she's trying to make me drive. 1,300 miles away, Adam, and you are mixing with like 100 milliseconds of latency, which is mind-boggling. And again, this talkback feature is awesome. If Adam wanted to disable that, he would just hit the talkback button that's within universal control, and then I wouldn't hear him anymore. But yeah, this is super helpful to be able to set this up. All right, Adam, I'm going to go ahead and play back the multi-tracks I have loaded up on my computer. I have them routed over USB into the PreSonus console, and these are tracks from our recent Churchfront Live event, from the worship session that we did. And I want you to have fun for a few moments, just kind of tweaking this mix as I send audio for all the channels through. And I know it's not much, but I'm nothing else fit for king, except for a heart singing hallelujah. Praise, we give you praise, all glory and honor. How's it feel, man?
It's good.
Mixing,
that was a good session.
Mixing from 1,300 miles away. How do you feel about the fidelity of the audio, the detail you're able to hear?
Yeah, it sounds like a mixing broadcast at South Fellowship. Like, there's not really like dropouts or glitches with the audio. It's pretty consistently clear. It's
pretty obvious the ways this is going to come in handy for your guys' worship ministry. Let's think about one application could be for your broadcast mix at your church. This makes it really simple to use the same console at front of house. You have a front of house mix engineer who can focus on the in-the-room mix, but then someone else remotely, it could be at your church somewhere, they could even do it from home, right? Just like the way Adam's doing it. They can actually monitor just whatever mix bus you're using for the broadcast mix and dial that in separately from the house mix. And then, Adam, you're able to solo channels too, right? To hear like individual things?
Yep. Yeah, I was soloing a few channels during that session.
Yeah, and it's a non-destructive solo. So what he's hearing in his studio is singling out that channel without, singling it out in the whole mix at front of house. So just very well thought out, the workflow that they implemented here to do this remotely. Theoretically, Adam, you could also have a cool setup for a monitor engineer at your church as well, like doing pretty much the same thing, going through people's in-ears mixes, making sure they're dialed in well, and then they can use that talkback feature to like communicate with the musicians and make those tweaks like Adam and I were making earlier. The other really obvious application is for just general troubleshooting. Maybe you're the head tech director at your church, whether staff or volunteer, and you're on vacation, you're out of town for work, but something is wrong with the mix. It just doesn't sound right. Like the ability to just remote in like this and see the signals coming into the console, to be able to talk back to your team and troubleshoot just any issues or problems you may be having. Maybe someone just plugged a cable into the wrong place and they don't know what's going on. on, or maybe a channel doesn't sound right and they're not quite as experienced on the sound console, and you can see like, oh, you don't have any gain on this preamp, like you got to turn the gain up, or you have this crazy EQ going, or you don't have any makeup gain on your compressor. Someone who has more experience can quickly hone in to solve those problems. Adam, think about how awesome this would be when it comes to helping our clients out at Churchfront, the different churches that we're helping implement audio solutions to be able to help them mix from afar.
Yeah, already we use other tools that help us get into their computers, but being able to have this little latency and helping them solve issues, and this would be an amazing tool for any of our clients that would have a studio live.
Well, this feature, which is free, when you have a PreSonus Series 3 console, make sure you update to the latest firmware. This feature comes free. Like, PreSonus is not charging extra for it, which is incredible. And I think this is really going to pioneer, hopefully, a trend that we see in the rest of the audio mixing industry, because I think this is going to be a must-have feature for every console out there. So props to PreSonus for being the first mover in this space. Not that it's impossible to replicate this type of remote mixing and monitoring with other applications out there, but those applications weren't really made for that purpose, and it can get really complicated. There's many points of failures, whereas the Metro solution by PreSonus makes it so simple. And that's what I want to spend the next portion of this video showing you guys, just how easy this is to set up. It takes just a matter of minutes. So the first step of this process is everybody who's going to be involved in this mixing setup, whether you're at the church or you're the person who's remotely mixing, is you need to have a free PreSonus account. So go to the PreSonus.com website and go set up your free account with my PreSonus. Once you have your free account set up, go to the menu on the top right and then go to Metro. That's this feature that we're using here. And then you could see in my Metro account, I have some different users. I've got Richard, who's on the PreSonus team. He was showing me how this worked yesterday, and then I was able to do the same thing with Adam. So all you do is go in, you create a new connection, and then you simply put in the account email for the other PreSonus user. So I already did that with Adam. I used his email address, and now he's ready to go. And what's cool is it's kind of got this cool chat feature. Adam, I don't know if you're in the PreSonus webpage, but I can like chat to you through that. If you go to the My PreSonus account, you can chat through this, which is kind of cool. And practically speaking, it can be helpful if you try to want to chat with someone and communicate with them outside of having the talkback featured enabled. The next step of this process is to download the Universal Control desktop app. So this is the app to do all the fun stuff with your Studio Live mixing console and control it. Actually, when I was setting up this console, I like using this desktop app to label all the channels, get the mixing console configured. I'm a lot quicker working on my laptop than I am on the actual mixing console and trying to type in things on the screen. And because Adam and both Richard are in my Metro account, in my PreSonus web interface there, you can see Adam showing up here. And what we're going to do, Adam, let's go ahead. I'm going to disconnect you. So on the top right, he's actually been connected. It's been totally stable for almost an hour now. I'm going to end the connection. Then he just requested to connect again. I'll press yes, and you can see it's finalizing the connection. And there we go. Adam, you hear me again?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Cool. So that's it. That's how simple it is to get this set up. So my computer is the host computer that's hosting the mixing console here. And then Adam's computer is the client, and that's the one that requests to control this mixing console. Adam, show them on your side of things. Maybe talk through what Universal Control looks like on your side.
Yeah, so I have Universal Control open, and within Universal Control, I can open up the Studio Live, so I see that in this window here. But in the Universal Control window, you can see here my settings in the top right, but next to that I can choose between any of these audio interfaces. So I love my UA arrow. We're going to use that. And we've got the playback coming through monitor left and right, so that's what I'm able to hear through my headphones. And then I'm sending the mic line here, so that is what Jake is hearing this This microphone right here is attached with an XLR. We've got the audio interface, you choose that, and then you've got playback stream, that's what I'm hearing from Colorado, and then sending, that's what I'm locally sending over to the host.
Yeah, and then they've got it set up where when Adam pressed talk in the universal control mixer on his end there, it just automatically knows to route the send stream from his audio interface to the talkback. And then, of course, on the mixing console itself, when you go to the talk assign section, he can select where he wants to actually send that talkback to. And then, guys, the other thing, too, is there's all sorts of settings around permission and making sure if you want a remote user to only have access to like a certain auxiliary mix, you can restrict them to that just to avoid any, accidental things like someone doing a broadcast mix accidentally tweaks something at front of house. That could be a problem. So there's lots of great settings around that to protect yourself from that happening. Below this video, I'm going to link all the resources on PreSonus's website. So of course you can pick up a console for yourself and then you can learn more about Metro. There's also some great step-by-step tutorials they have for getting the setup. But like I already showed you, it's fairly straightforward. Create your My PreSonus account. Enable the Metro setting, add the other My PreSonus users who you want to grant control, open up universal control, and it really just takes a few seconds to get up and running with Metro. And then when you're finished with your session, all you have to do is click the person's profile on the top right, and then you'll click the end session button right there, and that will disconnect Adam. I don't want him to stop hearing me right now because we need to communicate to finish this video, but you get what I mean. Oh, Adam, one other thing I wanted to think about was, practically speaking, what about video? If you're home mixing for our church service, like, what are some practical solutions? Do we just get like an inexpensive computer running Zoom or something in the back of the room with a camera? Could we pull in our program feed for our broadcast into Zoom as well, so you could just monitor what's going on? That's probably the best thing, right? It's like, let's just take the multi-view from a video switcher, so then you could see all the camera angles we have, so you're not even limited to the broadcast program feed, and then you can just see what's going on in all the different places we have cameras.
Yeah, and we love recommending the ATEM Constellation 2ME. So if there's an unused multi-view, like if you're just using one of the multi-views on the ATEM, you could even use the second multi-view to be custom to whoever's mixing remotely. If you're not utilizing the USB-C output from the Constellation, you could plug that into a computer and you could run Zoom and use that.
Yeah, it's really simple. You have your video cameras going into some sort of switcher, and then sometimes the switchers have that video capture to USB device built into it, or maybe you need to get like an Elgato Cam Link device to make that connection from the video switcher to pretty much any video service you want, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Google Meet, anything like that. Again, I think putting a multi-view in, putting it on a free service like that, then that gives your person who's mixing remotely at least eyes on the ground of what's going on when they're mixing, and then that actually could also double as a place for someone out front of house to also chat with that person, or they could also remote in on their laptop into that same Zoom meeting or Google Meet meeting to communicate. So there's so many creative ways that you can solve the visual element to this as well. But props again to PreSonus for making this system possible. Metro is truly amazing, and I'm really grateful for it as someone who is trying to equip churches with the latest technology. This is one that I feel like this was long overdue for quite a while now. So thank you so much, PreSonus, for coming out with this amazing software and this service, and letting us demo this mixing console for everybody here on the Churchfront channel. And like I said, be sure to check out all the resources and links down below this video. Thanks for watching. Share this with your friends in ministry. Smash the like button, and we'll see you next time.